Good morning. Oh, let's try that again. Good morning. That's so much better. I'm happy to be here this morning with all you all. It's a beautiful day outside, a little crisp, but a beautiful day outside. Oh, and of all the places that we could be this morning, this is the perfect spot for me. So I'm glad to see you all, and I just want to remind you that we love to pray here. So if you have something that's heavy on your heart, or if you have something you'd like us to celebrate with you, either one, please fill out a prayer request form on the back table and put it in the box, and we will be happy to pray with you all week. There's also a form back there if you are not on our mailing list to fill that out, and we'll be sure that you're there if you want to be. There's also a little flyer on an upcoming book club, which you'll find out about later in the announcements, which will be starting on November 9th. That being said, we are so blessed to be able to come together today, and we have some special music for you.
Now the Spirit is calling us home again. Now we live in the joy of becoming whole again. We sing, Thy will be done. We have come in Thy holy name. Now oneness is known in the hearts of man restored. Now in gladness and wonder we sing before the Lord. We sing, Thy will be done. We have come in Thy holy name. Now the blessings of heaven we bring into the earth. Now creation rejoices as mankind knows rebirth. We sing, Thy will be done. We have come in Thy holy name. We sing, Thy will be done. We have come in Thy holy name. In Thy holy name.
Thank you, Dawn and Red Star, Aisha and Audie, for sharing your gifts with us this morning. It was beautiful. Thank you. So it's that time in our service where we get to bless our children, all the children of the world, and the child within each and every one of us. So if you would please join me in this blessing of our children. We see you, who you really are, made in the image and likeness of God. We cherish you, we support you, and we love you. And so moving now into that silent space within, we know that truly there is only one life, and that life is God, and that life is perfect. And that life is my life now. That life is each and every one of us who are here today. There is only one life, and there is absolutely nothing outside of God. God is light and love and peace and joy and health and wholeness. God is laughter and love. And I am one with that, and if that is true for me, that is true for each and every person here. One with light, one with love, one with peace, one with harmony and wholeness. So as I speak my word this day, I know that we move through this day and through this ensuing week strengthened and supported by the divine, knowing truly we are one with the one, that every interaction we have is an interaction of God interacting, communicating with God. I know that each and every one of us moves through this week with ease and grace and love and laughter, and I am so grateful. I'm grateful for the opportunity we have together to come together in community. I am grateful for the light that shines through each and every one of us. I am grateful for the light and the love of Spirit that fills us up and spills over. I simply say thank you as I release this word now to the perfect working of the perfect law, which always, always and only says yes. Please join me in affirming, and so it is. Amen.
Dawn, will you do that in its entirety again? Please. Musicians, thank you so much.
Now the Spirit is calling us home again. Now we live in the joy of becoming whole again. We sing, Thy will be done. as mankind knows rebirth, we sing, Thy will be done. We have come in Thy holy name. We sing, Thy will be done. We have come in Thy holy name.
Wow, thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Wow, aren't they just wonderful? Oh my goodness. Whew. So let's just take a breath and allow that, oh my goodness, this fabulous energy to move in us and through us and as us, supporting us in our very beingness in this moment. Because I truly know and believe that is the will of God for each one of us, that we are present to this moment of grace and beauty and joy as its loving expression. Thy will be done through us, for we are that vessel created in its likeness and image. Thy will be done. And so it is. Whoa. That's the joy of being present to the moment, is those incredible, precious, sacred moments happen to us. And if we're present, we get to be in it and know it as our own experience. Oh, that was beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, good morning, CSL Kalispell, Montana. We are on a roll here because we are a thriving community. We are a community that comes together out of love to become greater expressions of love, because that's what we're on earth to do. We are here to do this together, and we're not all alike, and we don't need to be alike. But we are all cut out of, made out of, grown up out of the grace of God. So here we are together in unity. And I love this. And remember that African proverb that Reverend Linda and I have been using for the last couple of weeks. We can go faster alone, but we go further together. I love that. We go further together. And that's what we're here doing. We're doing this together. So we're not only doing it with the people that are right here in our sanctuary today, we're doing that with every person that's out there, whether every person who's joining us online, those who will join us later, every person that's out there breathing the breath of God is part of this journey that we're on. We're all related. We're all actually united in this thing called life. And so we get to choose as a community, as a tribe, as a family here, how we're going to do it. And we have chosen, and we'll do this for the next 6 or 7 weeks to really get ourselves energized into that place. And we came in energized, but we're really going to uplift it a bit, to move as the thriving community, thriving in this blessed community, thriving as spiritual individuals and coming together in community. We want to thrive. We've been through the survival, right? We've survived whatever we've survived. And now let's focus on the thriving part. What does thriving mean to you? What is thriving to you? Just take a moment. What is thriving to you? I'll tell you what thriving feels like to me. It feels like I can stop. It feels like I can take a breath. It feels like I can do self-care. It feels like I can be present to you. It feels like I can appreciate you. It feels like I can see you and hear you. Because I'm not in that struggle to survive, I'm thriving. And so I'm aware of the life and the goodness of life around me, for me, within me, and as me. And as I know that for myself, and as we know it as a community, we know it for ourselves and others. And others. You see, it's the others that we want to bring into our spiritual, thriving, beloved community. Whether we do it as we do it in our minds and our hearts and in our space. We call them forward. We say, come, beloved, come in. Welcome home. We've been waiting for you. We've kept a place at our table for you. And we've always known you and known that you were made in the image and likeness of God. As a community, we can do that because we support each other. We stand under the shelter of each other doing that. The beloved community is about individuals learning to love self and others in a greater way, in a way that we can put down the things that we have seen as barriers to our loving each other and others, and be able to create the experience of belonging. Who would want to be with a group of people for very long that they didn't feel like they belonged with them? We create that feeling of belonging in our community, and we practice being the person. Here's what we get to do here. We get to, your attention please. We get to practice being the person we want to be. So here's the deal. You walk through that door on a Sunday morning or any other time, whether you're coming to class, you're coming to service, you're coming to a sing-along, you're coming to the meditation, whatever you're coming into, you walk through that door, and here's what happens is you get to be your magnificent self, regardless of where you've been and what you've been up to. You get to walk through that door and be your magnificent self because we have made a covenant. We have made a commitment that that's what we are doing here. We have made a covenant with God. We have made a covenant with ourselves. We've made a covenant with humanity. We will always, always strive to be the best that we can be and to recognize you as the same. So we practice being the person we desire to be, and we support others in the same effort, right? That's how it goes, yeah. So what does that mean? It means we're here together developing the compassionate heart. We're developing the compassionate heart. The heart that says, yeah, that hurt, and I'm willing to lay that aside. The compassionate heart that says, yeah, I had different expectations of you, and I'm willing to lay that aside. The compassionate heart that says, oh, I made that such a horrible mistake, and I'm willing to lay that aside. We are willing to do this because we know that the greater effort is to raise us all up in our consciousness, to have higher consciousness in the world. We do that individually and we do it collectively because we want the effect to be widespread. We don't want to be the only ones having the good, do we? No, because this isn't a good that is limited. This is an unlimited good that actually increases as we share it. The good of God, the good of grace, the good of compassion, the good of peace and love and joy. It increases exponentially as we share it, as we become that expression. Our mission here at Shining Mountains Center is we are a loving presence. That's what we've committed to being, a loving presence providing an environment for individual spiritual growth and prosperity. Individual growth and prosperity. So that's what we're here to do, is to support that in the best way we can. But it takes engagement from everyone. I can't give you the gift of food if you're unwilling to take it. I can't give you the gift of money if you say no thank you. I can't give you the gift of my time if you turn away from me. You can't give me any of your gifts that you so generously share if I say no to them. We have to be engaged in the idea that we are a thriving spiritual community. We are part of this beloved community that we have committed to growing and experiencing it. We don't just want to grow this community, we want to experience the benefits of being a part of a beloved community where we recognize each other, where we appreciate each other, where we acknowledge each other, trust each other, and are trustworthy in that community. And so what is the vision we have? We have to buy into the vision if we want to commit ourselves. I mean, why would we ever commit ourselves to a vision we didn't believe in? Our vision is that we are a spiritual community realizing, get this, unlimited spiritual potential. That is what I would invite you to consider. That we are here to support and travel together on this journey. It's not any of us leading the other. We are traveling together. And sometimes you'll be behind, sometimes you'll be ahead, but we're traveling together. We're going further together. And so what we're doing is moving into that field of potentiality that is here for all of us. The spiritual potentiality for our growth and well-beingness, for our growth and prosperity, for our growth and our joy, for our growth and our expression, creative expression, for our growth in love as love with love. That's what we're here doing. And that's what a beloved community does. We let go of the little things that we think are reasons not to do something, and we put our focus on what it is we want to do. What is it we want to accomplish? What is it we want to move into? If you want to learn to play the piano and your desire is strong enough, you don't look at all the reasons why you haven't played it and why you can't play it and why you probably will never be able to learn to how to play it. You just move into that idea, that joyful thought, that hope, that idea, that dream of what it will be like to be able to play the piano. And then what happens is a teacher shows up. Or a video shows up or something, but you draw it to you. So unless it isn't your dream that you're putting all your focus on and it's your reason why it can't be, you're going to see some expression of it coming in to support you. That's how the universe works. It supports us. But we have to be willing to accept the support and be caught in that idea. I love being caught in the idea of unlimited potential good. I love to surrender to that unlimited good. I love to be desirous of that unlimited good because I know it's there. I can taste it. I can feel it. And the next thing you know, I'm standing in it. I'm experiencing it, but I have to be awake and aware to it too. I can't always have it yearning for. If we continue to yearn for something, it's always going to be out there for us to yearn for. If we grab the potential that's right here within us right now and bring it forth, you are the expression of God, and you have everything within you to be everything that you would desire to be as that expression of God, as you recognize it, as you accept it, as you step into it, as you acknowledge it. It's all about what it is we're claiming as our truth. So here's what we're doing in our community. We're developing ways to meet obstacles. And one of the ways that we meet an obstacle is to name it as such. That's an obstacle. That doesn't have to be the truth. It can be the fact. It's an obstacle. You see how different that is than saying, oh my gosh, it's an obstacle in my path. It's an obstacle that I'm not sure how to get around, but I'm sure there is a way. You see, it's how we approach things that's really important to us. And if you're around people that aren't supporting that there is a way, a different way, we don't say that there's only one way. We say there is a way, and that's what we practice, is the way. And the way is through the mind of God. In us, there's a power for good in the universe. There's a power for good in the universe, and we can use it. There's a power for good. And we should be using it. So the path, the way that we're taking the path, always carries elements to help us along. But we have to recognize what we are. Once in a while in my own life, my personal life, I can tell you the obstacle was exactly what I needed. The obstacle in my path was exactly what I needed because it took me on a different path, or it took me on a different way, and it was actually better than what I was reaching for. So the obstacle isn't always a bad thing. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's just an obstacle. It's kind of like this morning, I get up and this is a challenge. I get up and I have several sets of hot rollers. One set of hot rollers I've been using for a couple of months, and you all have seen the results, stick straight hair. I take those curlers out and I'm just happy as a lark because they're titanium curlers, and I'm thinking I'm going to have some curls, and by the time I get to church, it's straight as a stick. So I resort to the second batch of hot rollers, right? I've used them before and they've worked, and I just wanted something different. I plug them in this morning, I roll my hair up, and I start to take it out, and I've got stick straight hair again. And I'm like, oh no, this is the universe conspiring against me. Something's wrong. I'm just going into this tsunami of, oh my goodness. And so I check the plug, and the plug's plugged in, and I'm like, what is wrong? Because the red light's on. Well, it took me a minute, and I checked the plug again, and it was plugged in, but just barely. So it heated them up somewhat, but not enough. And that can happen in our lives. We can think we're plugged into our spiritual self and essence, and we can still be using and buying into the doubt and the fear and the judgment outside of our spiritual essence. We think we're still plugged in. If you're still making those judgments, and you're still in fear, and you're still being challenged by they're wrong and I'm right, or why me, God, you're not completely plugged in. That's what I would say. So just check your plug. And you know how you check your spiritual plug? You do a meditation, you do a prayer, you do a I call it, you just start making statements. You can do it that way. You start making statements. I am a child of God, and as a child of God, I deserve to be at ease. And I deserve to be at ease knowing that I'm fully supported. Okay, all right. You know what I'm saying? You make those statements that make sense to you about the truth of God and therefore the truth of yourself. How could you be any different if you're made out of it? It's like saying that ice cube, once it's made, it starts out as water, right? And the ice cube goes into the the water goes into the tray, and we slam it into the freezer, and we pull out the ice cube. When the ice cube melts, it's not sand, and it's not Jell-O, and it's not fluffy cotton. The ice cube is water, right? That's what, I use that analogy because that's what we are. No matter how broken or upset or whatever we think we are or they are or we have been, we're still only God's stuff. We've got to remember that. We're still only God's stuff. Maybe it has to be rearranged a little bit. Maybe it takes some tweaking. Maybe it just takes whatever. But we're still the same stuff. So let's act like it. Let's really act like it. And as a community, as a beloved community, as a community of individuals who are on this path together, we recognize that unity is not the opposite of diversity. Unity takes diversity. We don't have to be all the same. And here's one of the most important things I think we need to know. Have you ever felt like you didn't fit in, whether it was with a group of people, a situation? I mean, I ask you that. I've certainly felt that many times in my lifetime. Here's what you need to know. Take a breath now. Because you don't ever have to fit in. And here's why. It's because you have always and will always belong. You belong to the beloved community. You belong to God. You belong to sacredness of life. You belong. There's no fitting in except out here when we deal with the stuff out here. You belong. There's no fitting in. Here's what Pema Chodron said. She said, we think that the point is to pass the test to overcome the problem. The truth is that things can't really get solved. They come together and then they fall apart. They come together again and then they fall apart again. It's just like that. It's a continuous cycle. The healing comes, though, from letting there be room for all this to happen. Room for grief and room for relief. Room for misery and room for joy. That's what we do in our beloved community. We support each other through the grief into the relief, through the sadness, through the challenges into the joy. That's what we're doing on this path together. That's why we come into community together. We believe that the incarnation of Spirit is within everyone. Everyone. That's the whole gist of this. We are all God's expression. We are all God's expression. And therefore, we should be able to be completely emancipated from all the discord in life. And it doesn't mean we won't experience it. What it means is, what I'm talking about is, we won't hold on to it. We won't live from it. We won't become expressions of the discord. It means that we will move through the discords of life. Through the challenges, over the challenges, around the challenges. We will not live in them. We are at choice. We are individuals who are at choice, and it is our choice how we live our expression of life. We help ourselves by helping each other, but we must put our spirituality first. We must know our connection to the one. We must be able to go within and hear that still small voice and whisper back. Whisper back. I don't know how you all pray. I have so many ways of praying. Sometimes I'm yelling. Sometimes I'm crying. Sometimes I'm whispering. Sometimes I'm singing. It doesn't matter, but make your connection to the one. That's the first place to go. That's where we start. We must put our spirituality first, and we do that so that we can continue our growth and continue our healing. We don't just put it first because, oh, God has all the power. God is the power within us, so we put our spirituality first that we may grow, that we may heal, that we may continue to evolve, that we may deepen in consciousness, and therefore be our greatest expression. We let go of the criticism of ourselves and others. Now, can you imagine getting up and spending, well, let's take today, Sunday, spending the rest of the day with absolutely no criticism of self? Absolutely no criticism of self. No, I should have, I could have, I didn't. And then we can easily move it into no criticism of others. As a community here, we encourage people to speak and their actions to express their beingness of authentic self. We encourage this. We encourage people to have a different opinion if they choose to, but we won't fight over our beliefs. We simply share and express them. Sometimes it's easier to do than others, but we are a community that accepts diversity and the divinity in all. My friend reminded me, my dear friend, beloved Sharon Ramey, Reverend Sharon Ramey, who's going to be here on November 7th, I believe, to speak for us. It's going to be a fun time. She is the minister who, oh my gosh, she's just fabulous. She's a fabulous person. But anyway, I wanted to be the funny minister, and she was, she's very serious, or not very serious, but she's just fabulous. Anyway, it turns out she's the funny minister. She makes people laugh all the time, and I'm like, how come, God? Anyway, you'll enjoy her very much. But when I was telling her what I was going to talk about, she said, well, you remember that quote they attributed to JFK back in '63? And I'm like, no. She said, well, remember, it's a rising tide lifts all ships. Well, did I like that? So I look back on that, and it was attributed to him, but it was, who knows where it came from. But I like the meaning. And he said it having to do with the economy. I say it has to do, and that's what she was sharing with me, it has to do with when you rise up and I rise up, everyone can rise up with us. We help others rise up as we claim, as we commit to, as we recognize we are the beloved, thriving community. We raise others up with us. Oh my goodness. What a power we have. What a powerful idea that we are not only doing this for ourselves, our families, our community, our friends. We are doing this for humanity. What we do affects our planet. So how do we know if we're on the right path of higher consciousness? Well, it requires us to, I think, take two steps. One step is the step into gratitude. If we can find enough to be grateful for, we are going to automatically raise our consciousness up, because how can you be thankful for things and still be cranky about it, It's just an automatic. So there's a step of moving into gratitude. The second step is collectively allowing others to be who they are. Allowing others to be who they are. So collectively we go out into the world and we allow that space for interaction. We listen to other people. We see other people. We allow others to share themselves with us. We share authentically with others. And it is a collective consciousness that's being raised. It's allowing people to breathe the breath of life as who they are, not who we expect them to be or who they're afraid not to be or be. But it allows others to raise their consciousness into that place of acceptance, of where we know the grace of God expands. And we work together doing this by being willing to open ourselves. We have to open ourselves so that we can creatively and lovingly be the compassionate heart. We are all united with God, connected with each other. And within each one of us, there's that inner wisdom. Indigenous people taught this. It's known through the ages. We carry the inner wisdom within us. It's written on our hearts that we are one. We are the beloved expression of the one. And here's what Ernest Holmes had to say about this. He said, we'll know each other in God, and we shall know God in each other. As our thought of God reaches to embrace the universe, our arms will be around each other. We are the beloved community. And we are the beloved community within the larger community, and we are part of the whole. We are part of the whole. So I invite you to join me at this time for that acknowledgement and that gratitude within us. So as we hear these first notes of music, I'm going to ask you to imagine that that is flowing into your soul right down to the very core of your inner sanctuary. And it is loosening anything that has been unlike harmony. So that right now your inner sanctuary is full of harmony, those beautiful notes floating around within. And as you do that, I invite you to know that you are experiencing in this moment, you are opening to the experience of Holy Spirit awakening you to its presence within you and as you. You precious, precious person. You beloved, precious person. May you feel the love that's in this sanctuary. May you feel the love that you're surrounded by. May you welcome it into every cell of your being. One life. One life. That life is God. That life is the life that we are living as in this moment. We are God's stuff. We are God's precious stuff. Oh, and as we remember that, we can recognize each other. We can know our neighbor. We can know our fellow person as God's stuff. Here to walk with us on this path. Here to commune with us in this thing called life. Here to help us grow and expand. Help us learn and teach. Oh, we are here to do this together. We are here, this family of humanity. To care for each other. To see each other. To be heard by and recognized. And as we remember that we are supported, we can look at our best and know that there's potential for a greater expression of our best. to know that our compassionate heart, if it's been broken, if it's been shattered, if it's been hurt, it heals. It heals. It's just bigger because it was broken and shattered. It just becomes a bigger heart because every place that there's a coming together of those pieces, it increases in size. So let us not be constricted by our pain. Let us grow from that pain. Let us not be constricted by the unknown. Let us grow into and create the known. Let us not be lost, feeling like we don't fit, and remember that we all belong. We are all members of the family, of the beloved community. And as that little boy who put the face on AIDS in Africa said, do all you can with what you have. Do all you can. Wherever you are, be what you are, doing all you can. For you are the face of God, never changing, always the face of God. And together we say, and so it is. Namaste.
Beautiful, beautiful. Again, thank you so much for sharing your gifts with us. We truly do appreciate it. So we've come to that part in our service where we get to put into practice the law of circulation. For those who are online, you can go to www.cslkalispell.com and donate. For the rest of you who are here, there's a basket on the back table. So what I'd like to ask you to do right now is to take your tithe, your gift, your offering, not only in your hand, but in your heart, and join with me in this prayer for spiritual giving and receiving. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is. And so I have a few announcements for you. Join us downstairs after service for coffee and conversation. Wednesdays, every Wednesday at 7:30, we have a Zoom meditation, and it ranges anywhere from 4 to 10 of us on Wednesday nights. It's quite a moving experience for us. Dances of Universal Peace, they're back to the second and fourth Wednesdays. That'd be the 13th and the 27th of November, and they'll be held here at 5:30. We have a book study coming up. There's some flyers on the back table, and there's a flyer on the bulletin board. Cliff Palmer, who is an ordained retired religious science minister, will be leading this book study on The Greatest Secret. And he says, a number of ordinary persons have transitioned into this new way of being by discovering that their natural selves. I'm sure there'll be a lot of interesting conversation regarding this book. So I invite you to join us. It's also on Zoom. The Zoom link is on the back table, and it's also been sent out to you, emailed out to the people who are on our mailing list. That being said, we'd like to ask you to follow us on Facebook. And I want to thank everyone who has joined us online, knowing truly you bless us with your presence, and we hope that you come back again, and we love you, and we bless you, and we thank you.